Sir Elton Hercules John. Now, he was born Reginald Dwight, which means he gave himself the middle name of Hercules. I could think of a lot of names that I would associate with Elton John. Hercules is not one of them.
Vinny is a man, always doing what he can, growing up tough. He knows how to be rough.
I don't know about learning how to be rough or tough or all that, but I'm here. How you doing, everybody? Welcome to Monday evening, and we are going to talk a little bit about the Rocket Man, the life of Elton John. Elton John has been a hero of mine since I really learned about him, which was around 1973. I was 12, and Goodbye Yellow Brick Road came out, the album, and the airplay was incredible. And I just was floored by this guy. And subsequent albums after that were incredible, from Captain Fantastic and the Brown Dirt Cowboy, Don't Shoot Me, Only the Piano Player, just hit after hit after hit. And I think what happened in the 80s to Elton, I think people got force-fed Elton so much in the 70s, they got sick of him. You could love your mother-in-law too, but you don't want to see her 10 hours a day. I think just Elton was so in your face in the 70s, people were looking for someone else to listen to. And then you got Billy Joel, that took over as the piano man. But Elton, no doubt, is one of the greatest musicians of all time, one of the greatest to come from England of all time, and born Reginald Kenneth Dwight, March 25th, 1947. He actually has my friend Fred's birthday. There you go. My friend Fred's a great musician as well. He's a songwriter, a pianist, singer. His showmanship it's had a significant effect, and I think it led to showmen and showwomen throughout the world. Just look at Queen, Madonna, Cyndi Lauper. So many different artists took on that persona where you didn't really have that before Elton John. Now, his songwriting partnership with lyricist Bernie Taupman is one of the most successful in history. But they're not talked about like Lennon and McCartney, Brian Wilson, even not quite in the same vein. I don't know why, because certainly the body of work speaks for itself. He was the 19th person to achieve the EGOT, winning the Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony Awards. He sold over 300 million records worldwide, making him one of the best-selling music artists of all time. And the difference between maybe Elton and Billy Joel, Elton had to do it in America, coming from England. Billy conquered America, being from America. But then again, Billy writes his own music with the lyrics. So you look at that. Does he get the nod for doing both? Maybe. Could be. Not sure. I like Elton a little better, but then if I'm at a Billy Joel concert, it's like, oh my God, I love Billy. Now, we learned to play the piano at an early age. He won a scholarship to the Royal Academy of Music. In the 60s, he formed the blues band Bluesology. And he wrote songs for the artists alongside Bernie Taupin. And he worked as a session musician before releasing his first studio album, Empty Sky, 1969, which was very good. Now, through the next 6 decades, he cemented his status, certainly cultural icon. 32 studio albums. The big one that really broke through was Honky Chateau in 1972, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, where I started with him in 73, Rock of the West Seas with the Great Island Girl, and Feel Like a Bullet in the Gun of Robert Ford. Those two songs are really good in 75. Sleeping with the Past in 89, The One. He's done music for Disney. He's written with Tim Rice from Disney. He's done everything. Your Song, Tiny Dance. His catalog is incredible. He's been successful in musical films, The Lion King, right? Uh, Billy Elliot, the musical, and his final tour, which went on for 5 years, which ended in 2023, Farewell Yellow Brick Road, became the highest grossing tour ever at the time. And he also had a movie done about him, the biographical film Rocket Man, which the header on the thumbnail for this show, that's from that show. Now, he's a charity fundraiser for HIV along with other charities. Since the late 80s, he's fought for that. In 92, he established the Elton John AIDS Foundation. It's raised over $400 million since its inception. And he began a year later hosting an AIDS Foundation Academy Awards party. And it's one of the highest profile Oscar parties in the Hollywood film industry. That's the party to be at. John was the chairman and director of Watford Football Club, soccer, from 76 to 87, and then from 97 to 2002. He's an honorary life president of the club. Now, in the late 70s, he became addicted, terribly addicted to cocaine and many other drugs, but cocaine. And Edwin, how are you? God bless you, my friend. Hey, Natalie, Artist Medical, how are you? I hope you're doing well. I had to put the comments here. I see them though. How you doing, everybody? I hope you're doing well, and thank you. I think it's exciting, artist. I love Elton John. Now, he had a severe drug addiction, and he's been clear and sober for 36 years, since 1990. In 2005, 21 years ago, he entered a civil partnership with his long-term partner, Canadian filmmaker David Furnish. They married in 2014, when same-sex marriage became legalized in England and Wales. He's had more than 50 top 40 hits. Just think of that. 50 top 40 hits. The number's staggering. And you could probably name quite a few of them on the UK singles charts, Billboard Hot 100, number ones in each country, England and America. 7 consecutive number one albums in the US. Think about that, 7 consecutive albums. He's the most successful solo artist in the history of US Billboard charts. His tribute single to Princess Diana, the Princess of Wales, Candle in the Wind, 1997, a rewritten version of the 1974 single, sold 33 million copies worldwide, and it's the best-selling chart single of all time. In 2021, he became the first solo artist with a UK top 10 singles across 6 decades. Primetime Emmy Awards, 5 Grammys, 2 Academy Awards, a Tony Award, 2 Golden Globes, a Laurence Olivier Award, a Brooklyn Guy Award. I'm giving it to him right now, Sir Elton. Kennedy Center Honors. He was inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame in 92, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 94. He was appointed Knight Bachelor for Services to Music and Charity in 98. Member of the Order of Companions of Honor in 2020. Now, with all this, you wonder, how could you not like this guy? He was born in Middlesex, England. He was the eldest child. And he was raised in a council house, which were kind of like garden apartments, if you could think of those. He went to grammar school till he was 17, and he just left before the A-level examinations to uh, procure a musical career. And those A-level examinations are kind of like your SAT in America. Now, when he decided to maybe consider being a musician seriously, um, his father was in the Royal Air Force, and he tried to steer him away to a more conventional career, maybe to be a banker. Now, Elton said that his wild stage costumes and performances were his way of getting back for his restrictive childhood. Okay, we all, I don't dress up as a duck on stage, but yeah, I went against my parents too when I was 16. Um, his parents were musically inclined. His father was a trumpet player with the Bob Millar Band, semi-professional big band that played military dances because he was in the military. Um, his mother heard him one day picking out the Skater's Waltz by ear. She played a bit of piano and thought, wow, he must have talent. He started performing at parties and gatherings. By the time he was 7, started taking formal piano lessons. Uh, he played like Jerry Lee Lewis at school functions. By 11 years of age, he won a junior scholarship to the Royal Academy of Music. One of his instructors thought he could be one of the best of all time at 11. So for the next 5 years, he went to Saturday classes at the Academy in central London. He learned Chopin and Bach and all that. Now, his mother was very strict. She was more outgoing than her husband. Her husband was an army guy. She was something of a free spirit. That's probably where he got it from. Stanley Dwight, his father, was absent quite a bit because of being in the army, forces. So he was reserved, but he was absent as well. And Elton, at that time, Reginald, was really raised by his mom and his grandmother. And the terrible arguments that the parents had really distressed, we'll call him Elton, even though he's not Elton yet. And the parents split up when he was 14. His mother remarried a local painter, a very good stepfather. And Elton has said that the man was wonderful to him. 1962 to 69, he becomes a pub pianist, a staff songwriter. He advertised small advertisements to try to get a job. In 1967, he answered an advertisement in the British music paper called the New Musical Express, placed by Ray Williams. That was the A&R manager of Liberty Records. And Bernie Taupin had answered the same ad. Hey, G. Hey, Mitch. So they answered the same ad, and John wrote music lyrics and then sent them to Taupin. And they began their career, and it's still going strong, although they haven't released anything of late. John changed his name to Elton John to pay homage of 2 members of his original bluesology group. Elton Dean, saxophonist, and Long John Baldry, who was a vocalist. And by the way, he was Dave Davies of the Kinks' lover for a while when Dave decided to be bisexual. It was a fad, he said. Where did he get the name Hercules? How did he change that? Came from the name of a horse in a British sitcom, Steptoe and Son. Elton was a big fan. On the advice of a music publisher, Elton and Bernie started writing more complex songs for John to record. Their first single was I've Been Loving You in 1968, produced by Khalib Kweli, who was the bluesologist's former guitarist. In 69, with Kweli, drummer Roger Pope, and bassist Tony Merry, John recorded Lady Samantha. Got some play. The album Empty Sky. I think it's very underrated, that album. For the follow up, Elton John, titled, John and Taupin enlisted Gus Dudgeon as the producer and Paul Buckmaster as a musical arranger. They had pretty good reps, those two guys. Elton John was released in spring of 1970 in the US. And it established a formula for a while for Elton. Gospel chorded rockers and very, very soft ballads. The album's first single, Border Song, peaked at number 92. If you hit the top 100, you're okay. He was a young man. The second, Your Song, reached number 7 in the UK, number 8 in the US, becoming his first hit single as a singer. And then the album soon became a hit after the single became a hit. It reached number 4 on the Billboard, number 5 in the UK. So he went and got a drummer. He wasn't happy with the studio players. So he went to get the Spencer Davis Group's drummer, Nigel Osler, and bassist Dee Merry. His first tour was at the Troubadour in Los Angeles in 1970. It was successful. Came up with a concept album, Tumbleweed Connection. He released that a few months after his first show, which was in July or August in 70. That reached number 2 in the UK and number 5 in the US. The live album was recorded from a live show, and it did very well. Now, the live sales took a blow in the US when an East Coast bootlegger released the performance several weeks before the official album came out. All 60 minutes of the aircast, not just the 40 minutes selected by Dick James Music to put officially as an album. A bootleg came out of the whole show. So people had heard it. John and Taupin, by now, are writing continuously. Hey, John Mayer. John, I don't know. I hope not. I don't know. I will tell you some stories, though, if you stick around for a few minutes. I know someone who knew Elton very, very well, and I'm going to give you some good dope. Not this dope. So in 72, he does the Royal Variety performance. He starts doing albums. Don't Shoot Me, I'm Only the Piano Player. Came out at the start of 73. Reached number 1 in the UK and US and Australia. The album produced Crocodile Rock, the first US Billboard number 1. And that really went ballistic, that chart, with Elton on it, because Daniel replaced Crocodile Rock as number 1. Or reached number 2, I'm sorry. So we had Crocodile Rock 1, and Daniel soon went to number 2. So the album and Crocodile Rock were the first album and single to be consolidated by MCA Records in the US. It replaced MCA's other labels, including Uni. So Goodbye Yellow Brick Road is released in the fall of 73. And, 9 months after Don't Shoot Me, I'm Only the Piano Player, instant critical acclaim, topped the chart on both sides of the Atlantic. It remained number 1 for 2 months, which is quite a bit. And it temporarily, hey, Dee Dee, it temporarily made John a glam rock star. Now, glam rock, Rod Stewart, but Elton was the guy with the costumes. And it contained Benny and the Jets, Yellow Brick Road, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, Candle in the Wind, Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting, what's the other? Funeral for a Friend. So by 74, Elton's on the radio every 3 songs. And by 78, 79, you start getting sick of him. But from 74 to 78, he formed his own record label, the Rocket Record Company. And he distributed it in the US by MCA. And it was Island Records in the UK. And he signed acts to it. Neil Sedaka he signed, and they did the song Bad Blood together in 75. That's why. And Kiki D as well, he met during the vocal track of Bad Blood, and that's why he did that song with Kiki D, Don't Go Breaking My Heart. He took a personal interest in Kiki D. He liked her, not romantically. John signed an $8 million contract in 1974, which right now that would probably be $40 or $50 million. He had a $25 million insurance policy on his life. He secured that, which is odd. In 1974, MCA released Elton John's Greatest Hits. That went #1, certified diamond, 17 million copies. Tremendous, right? In 1974, he collaborates with John Lennon. I don't think it's any, and I'll just go to John Lennon for a second. I don't think it's any coincidence that the Beatles reunion rumors started after John had his #1 with Elton John. I'll tell you why, because I don't think McCartney had a #1 already. I don't think Lennon was ever going to reunite and do anything with McCartney with anybody thinking, oh, he's riding McCartney's coattails, because McCartney's had #1 and John Lennon needs Paul McCartney. I think he felt good about his #1, and now we can get back together. I have a #1 too. That's just my personal opinion. He also, by then, I think John Lennon had lost his ear in terms of what was commercially popular, because you have to remember, the 1970s changed a lot. By 1974, music was totally different. You had Seals and Crofts, yacht music, a lot of solo guys that were in bands went solo, Rod Stewart, Eric Clapton. Music had changed. John Lennon didn't recognize that song would be #1. Elton, who was very commercially successful at the time and really, at 26 years of age, really moving, he had a better feel for it than John Lennon. And he was right. It went to #1. He also did the cover of Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, the B-side of Lennon's song One Day at a Time. It was #1 for 2 weeks in the US. Now, John was featured on Whatever Gets You Through the Night. Elton John was on Lennon's album Walls and Bridges, which many people think was his best solo work. Elton, and John Lennon. And I'd have to agree. I think that was Walls and Bridges was a very self-confessional album with John Lennon, because he missed Yoko and Steel and Glass. He's talking about skyscrapers in Los Angeles. No one loves you when you're down and out, because he wasn't a Beatle. All that nonsense. Later that year, in Lennon's first live performance, which was Thanksgiving of 74, Elton John bet him that the song will go #1, and the bet was, you have to come on stage with me if it does. And John Lennon had to pay the bill. And they did a couple of songs together. I saw her standing there. And Whatever Gets You Through the Night. Elton John said that there was an 8-minute standing ovation. He never felt the building shake like it did when John Lennon was announced. So after that, Caribou was released by Elton. And that became his third number one album. Canada, US, Australia. I like Double Fantasy, Dee Dee. Very self-confessional, asking people in their 40s, how are you doing? We got through the 70s, talking to people his age. He recorded that in 2 weeks, Caribou. And that has some really good songs on it. Grimsby, stuff like that. The Bitch is Back. Now, Step Into Christmas. That was a standalone single, which did very well. And it was reissued in 95. Pete Townsend of The Who asked Elton to play the local lad. That was the character in the 1975 film adaptation of the rock opera Tommy. And he wanted him to perform Pinball Wizard. And drawing on power chords, Elton's version was used in the movie. And it charted number 7 in the UK. So he was a glam god by now. Incredible. He thought Mark Bolan, who was a dear friend of his, who died young, was the first glam rock star. I don't know if I agree with that, but Mark Bolan had a great effect on Elton John's life. Now, his autobiographical album in 1975, Captain Fantastic and the Brown Dog Cowboy, debuted at number 1. First album at that point ever to do so. People were waiting for that album after the success of the other couple of albums. Stayed there for 2 months. And he revealed his personality on that album. Taupin's lyrics describing their early days, struggling songwriters in London. A lot of place and time there. And the hit single from that album, Someone Saved My Life Tonight, captured an early part of Elton's life. And it also signaled the end of the Elton John band. Elton was overworked at that point, suffering from drug abuse, and he dismissed Olsen and Murray. They came back, don't worry. Now, the decision was released to the press, and the decision was made during the filming of Tommy. Davy Johnson and Ray Cooper were retained. Quay and Roger Pope returned, and a new bassist, Kenny Passarelli. The rhythm section, James Newton Howard directed it, had a heavier backbeat, and I think that's what he was looking for. And in 75, he introduced that lineup for the first time at Wembley. And I think people were shocked not to see Nigel Olsson and Dee Murray. Dee Murray since has passed of cancer. They came out with Rock of the Westies. That went number 1, as Captain Fantastic did the previous year. Now he's wearing ostrich feathers on stage, Statue of Liberty, Donald Duck outfits, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. He got a 1975 star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. That was pretty quick to get a star. He'd only been really famous for about 3 years. And then he played a 2-night 4-show stand at the Troubadour, where he first started, to commemorate it. And then everyone that attended got a hardbound yearbook with documenting the band's history. He was named Outstanding Rock and Roll Personality, the first annual Rock Music Awards in Santa Monica in 1975. Came out with Sorry Seems to Be the Hardest Word in 76. He did Don't Go Breaking My Heart with Kiki D. That went number 1. So he could do no wrong, Elton. Until 1977, when he announced that he was retiring from performing. Bernie Taupin started collaborating with others and now producing only 1 album a year. John issued a single Man in 78, didn't do too well. New lyricist Gary Osborne. Elton's not a good lyricist. No singles that made the top 20, but two singles from the album were released in the UK, Part-Time Love and Song for Guy. Song for Guy is a beautiful song, if you ever get a chance. And accompanied by Ray Cooper, the great percussionist who has worked with everybody. And Elton became one of the first Western artists to tour the Soviet Union and Israel. He did. He returned to the US top 10 with Mama Can't Buy You Love after a couple of years of being stagnant. That went to number 9. Without Bernie, he wasn't going number 1 anymore. Maybe people getting just too much of Elton. You're waterboarded with Elton. He was having a problem with his voice at that point. And Tom Bell, an American soul producer, gave Elton song lessons. And he told Elton, maybe you should sing in a lower register. This way you save your voice a little. Disco was destroying everyone, and it even almost destroyed him. So he put out this album, Victim of Love, 1979. And then Bernie and him reunited. They didn't collaborate on the full album until 1983's Too Low for Zero. It was a significant boost. It got Elton back in the charts. And his biggest hit in 4 years, Little Genie, hit number 3, didn't hit number 1. But that was with Gary Osborne. So Elton, people got excited about Elton again, even though that song wasn't Bernie Taupin. He toured the Soviet Union in 79. He did Donna pour Donna and Les Avieux with the French couple Franz Gall and Michel Berger. So he was looking to just be busy. In 81, he does the album The Fox. He did that with an album 21 and 33, same session, collaborations with Tom Robinson and Judy Zook. 1980, Olsen and Murray come back into the band. They're joined by Richie Zito on lead guitar, Tim Renwick on rhythm guitar, and James Newton Howard on keyboards. He did a free concert in Central Park for about 400,000 fans. And he dressed as Donald Duck. The album Jump Up was released in 82 with one of his biggest hits, Blue Eyes, also on that album, Empty Garden, Hey Hey Johnny, written in the wake of John Lennon's passing in 1980. From there, he has just been part of our conversation forever. Forever. 1915, he does Billy Elliot, seen by 5 million people in London, nearly 11 million people worldwide, the play. He signed an exclusive engagement in 2003 to play 75 shows over 3 years at Caesar's Palace in Vegas. I saw him there. The Red Piano. He was great. I'll tell you about the times I saw him. In 2007, for his 60th birthday, he played his 60th show at Madison Square Garden. A DVD was released, Elton 60, live from Madison Square Garden. Greatest hit compilation came out. Amazing stuff. And his personal life. In the late 60s, he was engaged to be married to Linda Woodrow. He mentioned in the song, Someone Saved My Life Tonight. She's the one that did. She helped him financially at the time when him and Bernie were struggling. And they had a 2-week romance before their intended wedding. She got very sick, and Elton had lost contact with her for over 50 years. But he helped her. John lost his virginity in 1970 in his first gay relationship with John Reed. Later became John's manager for a while. And John married a woman, a German recording engineer. They were married for 4 years. Now, he's probably worth $500 million. He's one of the 300th wealthiest people in Britain. He lives in Georgia, I believe, and he built a hospital there for AIDS. His political views, he liked Tony Blair. Very friendly with the royal family. Thank you, Mitch. Todd Father, how are you? Now, in 1975, it took a serious toll on his health. He had a cocaine overdose, almost died. He had an eating disorder, had anorexia. Um, in 2014, he attributed a lot of his sobriety to Kate Bush and Peter Gabriel with the duet "Don't Give Up." Rest your head. You worry too much. It's going to be all right. When times get rough, you can fall back on us. Don't give up. In 2017, he was in the hospital. He had a bacterial infection. He's had surgery, walking pneumonia. He had to postpone shows in 22 due to a serious COVID issue. Made a full recovery. Now, when I think of Elton, I think of the amazing work. I think of how since 1973, that's 53 years I've been listening to him. I look at some songs that may have affected me. Captain Fantastic, it was a great album. And then The Captain and the Kid, which he did about 30 years later as a sequel to that album, was probably his best album in the last 30 years. Song for Guy is a great song, Didi. But I will tell you, he did the song I've Seen the Saucers. That was after a conversation with John Lennon, because Lennon said he saw a flying saucer. Now, I will give you some stuff. I know someone, an actor, very, very close at one time to Elton John. Elton John, I was told, had a thing with John Lennon. I don't know if it's true, but this guy would have no reason to lie to me. That Elton loved John Lennon. Todd Father, are you coming in? Is that the day you're meeting this week? I'm going to Florida for Thursday, but I'm around. If you're going to be, I'd love to see you. I've heard Elton can be very nasty. I was told that him and his husband fight terribly, and that Elton is always stepping out on the husband. That he's badly diabetic. That he's almost lost all his sight now. And that Elton's pretty ill. I don't think you'll ever see him in concert again. Todd Father, I will. I'm leaving Thursday for Florida, but I tomorrow or Wednesday, absolutely. I would love to see you. So Elton John, look, one of the greatest performers to ever have lived. Do I think he deserves the title? Yeah. I can pick a decade with a hit or something he was involved in as a hit, whether it be Broadway. When he did the album Red Strikes Back in 87, he had all his costumes on that album in the front, and he was not dressed in a costume. He changed record labels and he was trying to shove it to them that he strikes back, Red Strikes Back. He was singing in a lower register at that point. He had a couple of good hits off that song. Goodbye, Marlon Brando is a very good song. And The Camera Never Lies is good. Elton's a guy that you listen to his album, there'll always be a song you probably don't like, a song that you wonder, why did he do this one? A song that reminds you he's a genius with great piano bits. He's a virtuoso, and we probably don't understand it well enough. Daniel's about a guy that didn't come back from Vietnam. Yes, that was after his throat surgery. Red Strikes Back. Yes, Mitch. But he's such a major influence on so many. Now, I saw Elton in 1997 for the face-to-face tour with Billy Joel. I saw him at the Forum in LA. Now it's a Staples Center. I saw him at the Garden a few times. First time I ever saw him was 88. Oh no, I'm sorry. I saw him in 85. And I'll tell you how I saw him. It was a Sunday night. I bet the football game with my friend, and we both won $150. Now it's 7 o'clock after the 4 o'clock game. My friend tells me, bad weather. It's like October, November. You want to go see Elton John? He's at the Garden. We drive to the Garden. We get there about 10 after 8. He was supposed to go on at 8 o'clock. We're out there looking for tickets. It's like 8:40. And I tell the guy, he's been on 40 minutes already. We missed half the concert. I forget how much I paid for the ticket with him, my friend John, but we paid great amount. We get in. There were no cell phones or anything back then. We get in. He hasn't even come on stage yet because of the weather. He got there late. We saw the whole concert. He played this song called Paris. And I was waiting for it to come out. And it came out like 6 months later. He played a new song that wasn't out yet. Then I saw him in 88. Saw him in the 90s. I saw him in 98. I saw him in the 2000s. Never disappointed. Never. Because he has so many hits. Now, I did see him. When was it? It was probably mid 2000s in Las Vegas. And he was brilliant. They have 2 shows. And unbelievable. and they let a certain amount of people for Saturday Nights All Right for Fighting come on the stage. You get a wristband, and they let you on the stage dancing around. And should I lose my dollar worth of advertising to show you, I will. Let's see if I can find it. Well, this is 2013. He was about 67 here. Nigel Olsen, great film. Nigel Olsen was Dee Murray's brother-in-law. Murray died of cancer after baseball. It's Dodger Stadium, I think. Well, sounds great there, huh? Now, there is one of my favorite Elton John performances, and it is Elton around 1984, maybe. Doing an amazing rendition of Twist and Shout. Outstanding. This is Wembley. He was good here. Listen to this. Outstanding here. Check this out.
Check it out, baby. Check it out, baby. Twist and shout. Twist and shout. I think I'm come on, baby. Come on, baby. Work it all out. Work it all out. Now I got you down, girl. You know you twist your back. Twist your back. Now twist a little closer. Twist a little closer. Show me that you're mine. Show your mind. Check it out, baby. Check it out, baby.
He's amazing. Anyway, Todd Father, yes, please get a hold of me tomorrow because I'll come out there tomorrow night or Wednesday night. I'll take the ride out. I definitely have to meet you. So I will drive out there. Everyone, thank you so much. I've been doing some baseball, and I actually got like 700 views on one of my baseball lives. I'm going to be doing Met post game and stuff like that. I'm very thankful for that, for the new audience that have come in. And it's very nice of everyone. So I thank you very much in advance if you're going to come in. Thank you, Dee Dee. And thank you, everybody, for being you. That's the only way I'd ever want you. I'll see you tomorrow. And Todd Father, yes, I will see you guys tomorrow, Wednesday. Good night.